Yeah, I think from my perspective, I follow Alabama quite a bit. I'm a fan of the way they play and Nate Oates, but it's kind of the perfect storm here tonight. You have one team. Think about what Alabama's done. They fly all the way across the country and play Gonzaga in Seattle, and they beat them in Seattle and fly all the way home. Both the trip out and the trip back, it's not an easy thing to manage. And then the next big test for them, they play arguably one of the more difficult teams to play against, Houston. And if you watch that game and you have a definition of a rock fight in college basketball, that was it. I mean, it was as hard of a game, emotionally charged, both teams, both really good teams. And now they win again. And now it's almost like now you're going to go, and I'm sure those guys are getting ready for final exams, up to Memphis. And, oh, by the way, they've lost 4 in a row. They're desperate. It's like, this is it. This is the game for them. And by the way, Memphis is talented. So, it's just, to me, Alabama didn't look like they had the juice that they normally do. And credit Memphis, they played up to their talent level. And as I think we all are well aware, they have a few guys that can really, really play. And John, the last part I would say is young players hit their strides at different points. Don't be surprised if this isn't a game that really spurs on a guy like, Jalen to really put it all together and never look back. So I think a meeting of two different things, which heavily favored Memphis unless something crazy happens here at the end.
I think
Ashton, your thoughts on the – go ahead.
So finally we get it from Memphis. Obviously, tons of potential, great young guys. You talk about Jalen Duran, Amani Bates. I think the biggest, turnaround was Amani not playing as much point guard tonight, and kind of put him off the ball a bit. Started him on the ball, but I think his biggest thing is just going to be decision making. Memphis is just turning the ball over. I think in the beginning of the season, that's been their Achilles heel. And against a tough Alabama team with these type of guards, they really kept the game under control, made good decisions, and probably going to end up in a win.
Yeah, this is huge for Memphis. They had to have this game.
Yeah,
you have to have a moment. I know it's against the number 6 team in the country, but it felt like either now or never. You're going to figure this out, or it's never going to happen. And look, what we can say about Penny Hardaway's groups is that they defend, and they've done a real nice job tonight against Alabama. Alabama 10 for 30 from beyond the arc. And look, they've held Jaden Shackelford and Javon Quinterly to a combined 8 for 21 from the field. I think that's the head of the snake for Alabama. No question, though. Timing's everything. And you know that, Sean, the ups and downs of a season. Alabama's coming off such a high. You come into this hostile atmosphere. Memphis fans are so good. But what I look at here tonight is 19 assists on 31 field goals. Like, Memphis has found some ball movement. Landers Nolley, by default, has to be a guy that makes some plays for others, and he has tonight.
Yeah, you hit on defense. And, remember the one thing about basketball, the offense is connected to defense and vice versa, right? Your defense is connected to offense. If you're a team like Ashton mentioned that struggles taking care of the ball, you have live ball turnovers, which are steals by the other team, and your decision-making plagues you offensively. I mean, you could have a great scheme, a talented group, and a team that's willing to defend, but you can't defend 2-on-1s, wide open threes, and the things that happen when you turn the ball over. And I think the first start towards Memphis's rise is chip away at the turnover problem. You're not going to go from bad to great, but bad to fair, and just, fair creeps into good. And before you know it, I think as they start taking care of the ball better, less turnovers, more shots at the basket, guess what? Their strength will be really amplified. And that is, they're going to play 5-on-5 more defensively, and they're going to be a very difficult team to score against. If you can defend Alabama like they have tonight, you can defend any team on your schedule.
I think also their sense of urgency, they just seemed a little bit, seemed a bit more confident, but I think they played a lot harder today. Possession by possession, you could tell they were really locked in, especially defensively, securing rebounds, keeping guys in front of you, especially playing against a tough Alabama team when you have guards that can create, get in the lane at will. I thought Memphis did a really good job of keeping guys in front, securing rebounds, and then making good decisions on offense.
Jalen Duran, 14 points, 7 of 9 from the field, 6 rebounds. Sean, what makes Jalen Duran a potential lottery pick?
You know, number one is this, John. He just kind of has to unpack his bags, put the key in the door, and focus on what do I have to do to be the best basketball player here at Memphis. You know, what is it that I need to work on to make my team better? So much pressure is on these young guys like Jalen before they ever enter school. It's almost as if it's an inconvenience to be there. And I don't mean that at all towards Jalen's attitude, but it's a hard narrative for an 18-year-old to overcome when the only thing that people want to talk to you about is, you know, what pick are you going to be? And it's predetermined they're going to leave. If you predetermine a one and done, you know, in a sense, you're going to be at school for about 6.5 months. And I think what allows those guys to be the best they can be, which also allows them to be the highest pick that they deserve to be, is by their performance in the 1 year that they're in college. And if Jalen continues to develop and continues to listen to, you know, Penny and Rasheed Wallace and Larry Brown and gets better as a defensive player and just keeps practicing and working and working and working and putting his time in, those other things will take care of themselves. And, you know, Amani Bates, I'm sure, is dealing with the same thing. In Amani's case, you know, he reclassified. I think Jalen did in a way too. I mean, you're talking about guys that could be seniors in high school being judged in December of their freshman year in college. I mean, about a decade ago, in December of your first year in college, you were just trying to figure out what school felt like. And I think that's the hardest part sometimes for those younger guys. But tonight could be a real big step. It's a confidence booster, and they did it on a big stage.
I think just using his physical prowess. At the end of the day, he's a young guy, freshman, and the better he is around the basket, finishing with both hands, I think the better he'll be. But like Coach said, really taking it one day at a time and just chopping wood and just getting better and winning. I think that's the biggest difference, you know, coming from high school to college, is more about just winning, making winning plays, not only on the offensive end, but defensively as well. And I think if he really attributes to that and really locks in on that, he'll be fine.
Sean, I think it's so interesting as Memphis is wrapping it up. Now they're dribbling it out. A 92-78 win at the FedEx Forum and a reinvigorating night for Memphis basketball to go to 6-4. They get it done, and that's a huge win for their resume. But, Sean, you brought up the fact of focus. And for an 18-year-old kid, there's so much going on. But then again, he's got to be in your gym every day for 3 hours, if not more. There's class, but there's the circle of people. There's all this stuff going on around him. So as a coach, if you're in the role of Penny Hardaway and his assistants, take me through as a head coach of a one-and-done player, what the process is of day by day keeping someone focused, helping them get better, but living in the moment.
Well, all those conversations have to happen before they ever come to the school that they choose. You know, the tone is set, the expectations are set. And, you know, Ashton mentioned it. You can't skip what's the most important for everybody, including the coach, which is winning. And if you look at recent history, you know, teams that go deep in the NCAA tournament, that have those magical 30-win seasons, players on those teams get the benefit of the doubt. They're not necessarily players that are averaging 22 points and 10 rebounds or, you know, had 40-point performances throughout the year. They're consistent players on really, really good teams. winning takes care of it. And, my motto with our guys constantly, and you couldn't say it enough, just to reinforce it, with team success comes all of the individual accolades for all of us. But those individual accolades are much more harder to come by when the team that you're playing on is mediocre. And, so that's what leads you to practice and lifting weights, being on time and playing within a system. The other part of it is, John, the biggest adjustment for these guys when they leave college to the NBA is playing with other great players. If you are in college as a guy that's thinking about leaving in 1 year, or in these guys' case where they're definitely going to leave, being able to play in a system and function with other talented players, both on offense and defense, being a winning player, being a player that everybody can point to as, man, it was night and day. When I watched him in November, this is where he was as a player. Now look at him here in February. So all of those things, those tangible things, become even more important when they leave college and become a part of the NBA. And I'm sure when you look at the staff at Memphis, their pedigree and them being in the NBA as a coach and player, all those, I'm sure, lessons are being talked about right now. But the switch doesn't always come on game one. This game right here could propel Memphis. They lost 4 in a row before this game. I think they have Tennessee next. Don't be surprised if they don't win 10 of their next 12 or 12 of their next 14. It can happen.
I agree, Coach. And I think the winning traits have to carry. And then also just learning scouts. I think that's one of the biggest differences going from high school to college also is scouting reports depending on who you play, especially in conference when you have so many different type of styles and systems that different teams run. So not only for Jalen, but Amani Bates, as he's playing this point guard position, that he's going to see different schemes, whether it's off of ball screens, whether it's off of dribble handoffs, pin downs, whatever the case may be. He'll see different systems, different defensive schemes, and they have to really adjust to it.